So funny enough, I tried recording this video before and didn't realize that the person made a transaction in the draft with a quick change, so I actually could get the original thing I wanted now. So yeah, I don't know what's really going on. But anyways, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Thriller here, and we're here for the BFO Surge Tournament Draft Analysis. If you guys do know, I am a part of the tournament known as BFO Surge. It is a tournament server ran by Addison, or even you may know her as Aquarius, but she goes by Addison now on YouTube. A link to her channel will be linked into the description. Definitely go check her out. She is an amazing, funny, and just overall an amazing human being. Such a pleasure to always be around and be a part of her tournaments. Um, this is our third year in a row, I want to say. Third year in a row playing in her tournaments. The first time we played was actually back-to-back tournaments where we did Showdown and Wi-Fi back at BDSP. Now, obviously, she's had these tournaments before that, obviously, but I never competed in them. Last year we did Paldea with Terra, I think. I think with Terra. Oh yeah, yeah. Or he did no Terra before Terra rules were applied. But this time around, we are doing strictly no Terra, so basically the last format like last time. So pretty much standard stuff here. But we got some new mons to play with that we didn't get a chance to play with last version of the tournament we get to play in. So really looking forward to having a good time here. Wanted to draft some stuff that I don't normally draft some old favorites, draft some new favorites, hopefully, and just overall have a good time today. So I'm gonna kind of breeze through my team a little bit because I already kind of talked about it, um, previous recordings. So might just breeze through it. But real quick, I'll talk about the BF Surge rule set here. So first off, like I said, it's gonna be no Terra in this format. And how the drafting works is that there are 5 games in total at the bare minimum for you to play, unless you make brackets. And the first 2 games, you're going to draft from a pool of the 10-point Pokemon and below, with a 45-point budget to draft 6 to 8 Pokemon maximum for your draft. Then, after those 2 weeks are played, you will be then in a free agency draft where you will basically be drafting where you will change if you want to make changes or add Pokemon to your roster with an additional 10 points, which will be added to your budget. You are allowed to. I think you're up to allowed to 2 changes, maybe 3. I could be off wrong off the top of my head. It's either 2 or 3. And then after that, you play a game. Then you do it again. Then for game 4, then you do the same process, and then for the final game 5, you do it again. And after that, if you have our 3-2 with a great record with a good differential, you most likely will make the brackets. If you're 4-1, you guarantee make brackets. If you're 5-0, you're top of the league brackets. But lose 3 games, and it's pretty much out and over for you. So definitely a lot of possibilities to either win early or lose out early. So really very competitive stuff. A lot of talented players in each pools are randomized. So very much going to be a very interesting go around to see how we do it. I was blessed with the third pick in my pool with the options that I did have. Actually, just real quick, guys, I need to do something. All right, sorry about that. I had to do a real run around real quick, but actually, I had third pick, and I really kind of just wanted to draft something. I wanted to just draft some stuff. I didn't really know exactly what I was going to do a draft for. So with my first pick, I ended up taking Hoopa Unbound. Now I know with Terra, Hoopa Unbound is God tier broken, but I think without Terra, Hoopa is still fantastic, man. Hoopa has a lot of more versatility than I think a lot of people give it credit for. I think it's honestly one of the more underrated Pokemon out there without Terra. I think it's still a Mon, which granted, minimum speed, which if this thing honestly had more speed, this Pokemon would probably be banned. Arguably max points. Like there's no it would be one or the other. Most likely banned though, because having like if you get this thing like base 100 speed, like it can actually outspeed stuff without choice scarfs in some degrees, and it's one of the better choice scarf users in the format then. I just generally think this is one that is very scary if you're not playing around. Obviously, U-turn is a very free move. More times than not, you're gonna run into, but it's fine. But Hoopa, which we named Doomsday. because it's the end of the world for you when Hoopa Unbound is there. Hoopa, give me a fantastic mix attacker to get out the gate running hard. Like if I know I'm running into a team with Intimidate, I can just run Special. If I'm running into an option where Physical can just run Rampant, I go Physical. Or even hell, if I want to go mix with my Hoopa, I can go mixed as well. So also 130 Spadef, if need be, really good bulk there. Obviously, our defense stat is the most paper thin defense stat you could ever ask for. But I think Hoopa can still be really good here. I think Hoopa is super strong, and I think Hoopa can provide really good offense to this offense for us here. Easy. Overall, feeling pretty good about this Hoopa pick, and I was really hoping to really get it, and hopefully we do well with it. With my second pick coming around, I really knew what I needed picking up a good fighting type to pair with this Pokemon. It's going to help deal with some things. Also, kind of giving myself a resistance to bug, which I think was really important as well. So I picked up Terrakion, aka Midicon, which is a mid Terrakion. Um, the reason why I say Terrakion's mid is just because I have never really seen or the appeal for this Pokemon. Like, I know probably in some earlier gens, this was probably one of the more premier draft Pokemon because it was a very more stronger threat. But just think it's not that good. I think it's got the possibilities to be good. It has the potential to be good. I recognize how strong it really can be in previous formats. I just don't know if I see the appeal for it here, but I'm willing to try this Pokemon. I haven't really drafted it. I think I may have drafted once, but it was like a mini time where I took over a team and I picked it up at free agency potentially. So I don't think, again, this is probably another Pokemon I've never drafted before, so maybe I'll change my opinion. Oh, excuse me. Maybe I'll change my opinion on it, but gave me more speed, which was really important there with 108 speed. Gave me a good physical attacker. So overall, though, this is not a bad Pokemon. It does give me access to Stealth Rocks too if I want to be a rock setter for the team. If I want a little more utility with my Terrakion. But overall, this was a pretty good pick, and we'll see how Terrakion performs this season. With my third pick, I knew I needed to pick up a thing for fairies because fairies now are looking scary. I needed something at least, and I also really needed to start picking up some options here because if I really want to start getting some good things going with my team, I need to get some removal options as well. So first off, I picked up a spin blocker, and I picked up a fire type. Now I think a fire type in a format like this is almost somewhat important because there's going to be teams that are going to have good steels and grasses that you're going to have to make sure they check the grounds because grounds are pretty a good common typing here in the format. So I really wanted something that helped with that. Now I picked up Hisuian type Lotion. Now I did debate between this and Chandelure, and even though Chandelure is by far the better Pokemon between the two, I think the speed that Typhlosion added to me was more better. It didn't share speed stat with Hoopa, which I think was the one issue with Chandelure there. And I think this was like the perfect sweet spot speed tier to go in between Hoopa Unbound and Terrakion. Like this was like perfect middle of the road speed tier here. And still a good strong special attacker now. So I got a mixed attacker, a physical attacker, special attacker. So we're branching that, we're balancing the bulk here. And also Frisk giving me the opportunity to know people's items is really good. It's always a good thing to know exactly what they are planning. So we're naming him Fuego because there's a wrestler by the name of Fuego del Sol. And this Pokemon looks like it collects souls, and the soul of Fuego actually was unmasked, so I think it's more fitting of a one named this one. For my fourth pick, I actually decided to pick up Vikavolt. So I did decide to pick up pretty much sticky webs. So here's the way this was. With a draft like this, you kind of want to be forcing people into bringing Pokemon or bringing certain items. If I am forcing you to bring heavy duty boots, even though you don't want to bring them on your Pokemon, and you have no removal, you're forced to bring boots because of the fact that I have a sticky web user now. Not only that, but I have stealth rocks. As you can see, I have toxic spikes. So you have to really respect what my draft offers to the table in the match in terms of the matchup. Now, Vikavolt here, which sadly lost Roost. Hashtag free my boy Vikavolt. Let him get his Roost back. It gives me another good strong special attacker if I really need to, but this thing gives me options for pivoting with Volt Switch, gives me an option for just clicking sticky webs on the team, very good coverage that I realistically just need. It can still do a lot more damage, things like throat spray, choice specs, and stuff like that. So overall, and it can still rock out that agility set every once in a while here. But still, Very good Pokemon. I really am looking forward to seeing how Vikable performs here. It's been a while since I've used it. Obviously, I last drafted, I think, actually in the John Junior Draft League I did in season two, maybe. It underperformed a lot for me there. So, it's been a long time since I've used Vikavolt, so my boy Vikashot here can put in that work. Up next, we got my boy Squidward, aka Tentacruel here. I've never drafted this Pokemon. I'm pretty sure I've never drafted this Pokemon. And it's really interesting because, it's a Pokemon that's gotten so much better because of the DLC buff, getting access to things like Flip Turn and stuff. I generally think this is a Pokemon I just don't see myself being good with, so that's why I don't probably draft it. But I think there's some potential here for this Pokemon. With Clear Body, obviously, we can be immune to statuses and some sorts, and also, well, not statuses, but like intimidate status is what I'm talking about, basically. Anything that'll lower my stats. But Tentacruel, though, it's still a decent Pokemon. On its speed can be taken advantage of for taking against potential bulk, or if it's shooting speed tiers, we really need to hit another Spadef monster answer to the team, which is really good here. Right now, our only physical defensive check is technically Jirachion speaking and Vikavolt, but they're not the best, so I need to fix that, but spoiler alert, I know. But Tentacruel though, I think it's pretty good. Give me Rapid Spin, Knock Off, Flip Turn, good utility options here. It's still a decent mod that can actually hit insanely hard as well. But who knows? Maybe Tentacruel can surprise me here with what it can do. But yeah, that's all I got to say. Up next, we got my brother from another mother, Obo, rocking out with Snorlax. I think this was a Pokemon I really wanted because this gave me a Pokemon that I can go physically defensive with and take some hits better with. But it gave me three crucial things. It gave me both a technically a Mon that can do a fire and ice resistance if I feel like my team for that matchup was really weak to either typing. And it gave me immunity so I cannot be poisoned at all, which I think is really good. Now, the thing is that people have to be careful about Snorlax because if you let steady Snorlax, you have to always fear Facade. Facade has become a move now where I think it's become where you have to be more careful clicking the button. I don't think it was as much careful consideration for it until maybe the certain part of Gen 8 and then mostly Gen 9 because the Terra Normal kind of puts that fear in you now because of that. But I think overall, this Pokemon is insanely good. I love Snorlax. I've always had a decent time with Snorlax every time I've drafted. I don't think I've ever been that disappointed with it. So feeling really good with this pick. I'm really one. Plus, I really needed a Ghost Resist on this team, at least one, because your boy doesn't have a Ghost switch in. So I really needed this. Coming in with the seventh pick of my eight, I went with the Alcremie, which was the salted cream. We're gonna call it mixed berry because mixed berry creams is a cool thing here. But I went with this just to have a fairy type. It's also not a terrible fairy. Another good Spadef Mon, a really good, decent offensive Mon as well. This Mon actually has been proven to cook people because of the fact of Terra. But I think even without Terra, you can still kind of cook. It cannot be taunted, which is really, really good. So even if you try to taunt this Pokemon, in any shape or form, you physically cannot be able to do that because of its ability, which is really good. Also, with things with acid armor, it can actually become a really good physical defensive tank. Obviously, poisons and steals are a decent amount here and there, but I think I got a great amount of answers for poisons and steel types on my team, especially with my last pick. But overall, I feel really good about this Mon, and who knows? Maybe this thing will stay on the team. If not, it'll be gone by probably game three. Who knows? On our last pick, now originally I wanted this Pokemon. Then it gets sniped from me. Then I go and make the video with Wish Cash because that's what I was gonna pick. And then it goes back to being Wish Cash for him, and now I can have a little Doug Trio. I don't really understand the logic of that, but okay. But I went with a lone dog trail as my last pick. He gave me a ground type and a steel type, both typings I did not have on my draft. Now, I will say my team is very, very, very ground weak right now. And it's one of those things where I try to find typings and find mons I felt like were good here, but I just couldn't work with it. Now, obviously, if we need to take one or two Pokemon to weaken down a ground type for something to come in here and deal with that, would be fine. Obviously, that ground type level 1 rock coverage, so it takes one prediction to knock out my Vikavolt. But I'm feeling pretty confident though we can still do this well. It depends on the ground types that we do face. Obviously, in the current moment right now, there's not a ton of scary grounds. There are a couple, but they are mostly bulky. They're not fast, so that's something to also take a note of. But I went with Low Trio, not for the speed set. It just honestly was a ground and steel type. It was a 1 point, which I think was actually pretty damn cheap. I think it was at least should have been 2 points, maybe most. But this was a cheap Pokemon to grab, so I figured, you know what, fuck it, I might as well. I need a ground type, and plus it's a steel type, which I don't have, which is a really good answer for potential fairies, even though at most I can live 1 or 2 fairy hits if I'm lucky. But regardless, I think this is still a Pokemon. Also with webs, I think this is a Pokemon that really takes advantage of webs really well. Like this thing could just run Choice Band every single week and just click buttons, which I think is really funny. So, yeah, that's gonna be our team for BFO Surge. Like I said, we will be playing our first 2 games. I do not know who the hell I am fighting. I believe I will be fighting most likely someone in my pool potentially, or it'll be just spread across randomly as it goes. Because I think how Addison likes to do it, she likes to pair up teams that are the same record as each other. So someone is 1-1, she wants to pair someone with 1-1. Someone that's 0-2, she wants to pair everybody against someone that's 0-2, which I think is really a creative process because it makes for more interesting matchups and really kind of makes it really nice and competitive as well. So really looking forward to who we get to face off in week one, in game one and game two, and then we'll do a change. And I will talk about changes that we do during the games that we go forward. So, like game three, I will go over the changes that we made from our first 2 games, and vice versa with game four and five. I will make note of the changes we made in between each battle. So, if you guys are hyped for this BFO Surge season, leave me a like down below. Subscribe if you're new. And like I said, definitely go check out Addison. She runs this every single year. She's a fantastic owner of this server, and she does a great job with her and her team that make this league slash tournament possible every year. So definitely go show her much love on her channel and in her comments. And with that, we're gonna hopefully rock out with a week 1 and 2 game win and move forward from that. But we'll see what happens. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.